What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy J Flood 201 back with another reaction. Alright, and so for this one, we are headed up to where I'm originally from, the 201. Alright, Bergen County. Alright, it's where I was raised. You know, I was born in Manhattan. Okay, lived in the Bronx a long time, but Bergen County, okay? For those of you that know, I went to Tenafly High School. Tenafly High School, even though I was living in Bergen Field. Tenafly High School. So, Fort Lee is right next to Tenafly High School. This is a very affluent area that is right outside of Manhattan. A lot of the CEOs and people that work in Manhattan and stuff like that, a lot of very wealthy people buy homes in Fort Lee and in Tenafly, New Jersey. Edgewater, right? Leonia, right? There's a lot of Asian Americans there. A lot of Israeli Americans there. This is a very affluent area that's thought of as like a safe environment, low crime rate, right? All the things that you would associate with like a really nice, wealthy area of northern New Jersey that's right outside Manhattan. You know, it's got a view of the Hudson River, right? Well, some shit was going down up in Fort Lee, all right? The ops was spinning the block. They had the student coming out the high school, and they saw him, popped out on him. No, I don't know what happened, but we saw this on Jersey Drill yesterday. Fort Lee school locked down after student was stabbed multiple times. All right, so we had to react to this. You know, we had to. So that's what we're going into right now. And remember, go ahead and subscribe. Go follow JFlood201 on IG for real-time updates like this, you know, and for reactions and for motivation and for, you know, anything like that, seeing what I'm up to, all that stuff, okay? We ain't dropping lows and we not revealing for the hoes. But I'll tell you what, we are definitely keeping it 10 toes, all right? So if you want to interact with me, if you want to give suggestions for reactions, if you want to put me onto an artist, anything like that, tap in with me on IG. Alright, we're going to start trying to make some content for TikTok. IG doesn't really have the same kind of growth that it used to. I think that was more of like a COVID thing. You know, I had an original Instagram during COVID, and it had all of my like personal photos, wonderful photos from like vacations, trips, experiences, shopping, concerts, right, all that type of stuff, from a very long time on it, you know what I mean, all the way from back in like college, all the way from then. And it had a number of different locations. So it had like, you know, I used to live in California, it had California content. I used to live in the Bronx, it had Bronx content. All right, I used to live, it had New Jersey content, obviously, from when I would be out there and living in Jersey. So it's a shame that what ended up happening is I had my phone stolen, and they got into the IG, right? So I had to shut that down, remake the IG, same name, but I lost a lot of followers during that, and it was like genuine, authentic people that I think, you know, had started following me during COVID and liked the type of content that I was putting out, liked the lifestyle branding. That being said, if you enjoy that stuff, please put your friends onto it. Go like, go follow, leave a comment, man. You know, it only helps. It's not just hubris, but eventually we're going to try and turn this into a business. You know, I'm going to be selling JFlood201 Reacts t-shirts in the future and that sort of stuff. Anyway, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's see what all this is about that went down at Fort Lee.
Chaos. Everybody went to a lockdown. Everybody had to go to the room. Kids outside, like for lunch, they had to stay outside. They couldn't go in the building. It was just complete chaos.
That student, Angel Serrano Lugo, is an 11th grader. He's a friend of the stabbing victim. He describes an ongoing beef that escalated inside Fort Lee High School. An argument between students started in a bathroom just after 11 Tuesday morning. That argument apparently continued into a hallway, and that's when the stabbing happened. One student stabbed another multiple times.
He said, he stabbed me, please help me, help me. Girls were crying, everybody was trying to help my friend, and then the security came, picked him up.
Serrano Lugo saw his friend bleeding out and says he had to do something.
I tried to apply pressure as much as I can, but it was really sad. I tried to help my friend as close as possible.
After the incident, parents received an email from the school and started texting their children. This mother went into panic mode, texting back and forth.
That's my doctor's office. I used to go there for the dentist.
With her daughter.
Hey, is everything okay? You okay? Yeah, Mom, we're okay. We just locked down because someone got stabbed. I feel shaking and I'm scared. Hope the person got stabbed is okay.
For hours, the large high school campus was surrounded by police. Students took out their cell phones to record the scene.
Oh, they got him!
When police took this student into custody. While the investigation is still active, Serrano Lugo's mother is questioning safety measures in the school.
I don't even know how they got this knife in the school. It's mind-boggling.
What? Come on, bro. Like, stop acting like Fort Lee has fucking metal detectors, bro.
To me, and every school should have a metal detector. This is a perfect example of, kids could have some animosity, some revenge, and stuff like this could happen.
Come on. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that's a far stretch.
Extra security.
This is rare. This is few and far between, especially at a high school like this. I mean, listen, everything's turning up, even Bergen County. Just like a couple weeks ago, we covered a stabbing in New Milford, right? Or a beatdown. Was it a beatdown? I think it was a beatdown and a stabbing that actually left the kid in critical. Nobody died, though. Nobody died here. However, somebody could have died, right? Just on the news, there's that kid in Texas dead, right? From the track meet stabbing. So kids are upping the violence. You know what I mean? They see what's going on in the drill music. They know kids got guns, right? People are threatening each other. And when you threaten somebody, that person goes into defense mode. And if I think you're going to produce a firearm or you're going to be waiting for me after class with a bunch of your homies then to put the beat down on me, why am I not going to grab my knife and poke you up? I don't quite understand it. Does that make it okay what he did? Nah, you're at school, bro. First and foremost, school, actually being inside the school, safe zone. I don't know what's going on with these kids, but man, all that stuff that went down when I was in high school, bro. Columbine, right? The Parkland massacre. The guys bringing the guns to school. That was a new thing. I remember being in school, Columbine, right? I know I was a real little kid, but Columbine changed things. A lot of those other instances of people bringing guns to school changed the attitude. People don't feel like school is a safe zone anymore, but it used to be. It used to be a safe zone. They used to wait for you after school, right? Now they're coming into school, okay? They don't care about being on camera or whatever. They're bringing the shiesties, all that stuff. These kids are going to have real repercussions. That's the thing that I don't quite understand is what's the deal? Like, yo, in a state like New Jersey, attempted murder is a big fucking deal. This isn't Louisiana. They're not going to be like, well, it was an assault with a weapon. Like, no, like that was attempted murder, homie. They're going to smoke your boots. You're going to go away. They don't care that you're 17. That's practically an adult. All right? A lot of these northern states have very high, strict, harsh penalties for things like violent crime, firearms offenses, or drugs and narcotics, right? Those three areas where they're deemed as like street crime and stuff, they're smoking your boots. You would get a better sentence for beating your wife than you would for being a teenager and having a knife fight. Do I think that's okay? I'm not here to argue that. What I'm saying, though, is that other states might see some discrepancies there. Oh, he's only 17, you know, he doesn't really understand what's going on. He felt threatened, and so he stabbed the other student, right? These are all things that a lawyer could argue that they would do to try to help your sentencing guidelines, right? But up here, they're smoking your boots. They don't want to hear it, all right? It's just food for thought. Seems like Bergen County is turning up a little bit. We had the stabbing in New Milford. We had the stabbing in Fort Lee. A lot of knife crime going on in Bergen County. All right? But what's my opinion on it? This is rare, few and far between. Same with the stuff in New Milford. I know I was reacting to that a little bit differently. That's a little closer. I mean, even this is right there. If New Milford's turning up and Fort Lee is turning up, then all of Bergen County is turning up. What that tells me is that not only are demographics changing, and this isn't a race thing, it's just, listen, you get kids that easily identify with inner city values and inner city street thuggery. Those kids are oftentimes not going to be, you know, Anglo. They're not. That means that they're beefing with kids that are Hispanic, that are black and brown, right? That are mixed background. You get a bunch of white kids together, right? They're gonna start threatening each other. My dad's gonna beat your dad up, okay? And it doesn't mean that white people don't commit crimes. It doesn't mean that white people aren't, you know, behind this or whatever. It just means to me that with the change in demographics, people are feeling the need to escalate the violence. There's more of a culture clash going on. And a place like Fort Lee, which used to be dominant, just white and Korean, like, you know what I mean? A lot of Jewish students, right? You're seeing a lot more Hispanic people. You're seeing a lot more Pacific Islander. You're seeing a lot more of a mixed student base, and with that comes a lot of different cultures and culture clashing, and then people are going to resort to what they know or what they heard about, where they moved from. And a lot of these people that are living in Fort Lee probably moved from where? New York. They got out of New York. They wanted the safe suburbs in New Jersey, and they brought a little bit of that city toughness with them, and that's okay. But what's not okay are students stabbing each other. All right, that's my take on it. I'm 201. Go ahead, let me know if you think I'm full of shit in the comments.